Every parent wants their child to be very good with money. But if you're a guardian, if you're a parent, let me ask you something gently. What if, without realizing it, yeah, we are teaching those kids, or rather our children, the wrong habits, not the wrong money habits, basically. And it's not intentional, but through our everyday actions, because children don't learn money from what we say, they learn money from what we do and from what they observe.
Hi Jane.
Yes.
So this is another day. I'm so excited to ask this question. So the first question, Jane, when does money education really starts? Sorry, let me repeat that question again.
Okay.
When does money education really starts for a child or for kids?
Also, for money education, most people think we start teaching money when kids get to maybe teenage level, or rather the teenage years. But when it actually starts is when they are about to, when they actually start get to 7 years. But most people assume that when my kid is about to go to campus, or when they are in campus, so that is when I'll start educating them. But basically research shows that sometimes by age 7, actually a child's memory, or rather a child's money habit, are already forming. And so that means how they spend, how they save, how they react to a no, and how they handle maybe that waiting bit is already being shaped by the age of 7 years. So the real question is not, are you teaching your child money? The big question will be, yeah, what have they already learned, or what are they learning from you? Yeah. So let me give a story. Yeah. Let me in a simple way, in an everyday, in our maybe everyday life, yeah, a child asks you for a toy in a supermarket, and they always do that. For me, kwanza, I try as much as possible. I'll not go with that in that section. So what we do is we will say no for a moment. Then they cause tantrum, they start crying, and of course, us being parents, especially you look at the little one, and what will you say? You just say, okay, it's fine, take it. And now basically what that just happened is you have just created, it's not even peace. The child has just learned that money responds to pressure, because out of the pressure of me crying, mommy or daddy has given me the toy that I wanted. And so they didn't learn about we needed to plan money so that we can get you that toy. They didn't learn like the patience of no, not now. They just learned about the pressure. Like now money responds to pressure, and that moment there feels, it may feel a bit small, but repeated over time it becomes a behavior, and it starts developing in their mindset. Like if at all I need a lot of, not even a lot of money, if at all I need money, I have to cause a lot of pressure, and I have to cause tantrums. I know that pressure, honestly, because I have kids and I go with them to those supermarkets, and I see, and that once in a while I'll also fall a victim of the same, but we are learning together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question, Jane, what are parents doing wrong to these kids, especially in this generation? What are parents doing wrong that should not be done?
So basically, one is maybe giving money without a structure. Like now, for example, you tell your child, if you're a guardian, if you're a parent, here's 100 bob, go buy something. Especially maybe when you're so busy, we just like them, just go buy something. But what you did, you didn't give any guidance. You gave, and you didn't give them that chance to think what I need to do with this money, and there is no basically that boundary of where that money is coming from. So basically that's not financial education. As much as we give these our kids money and we decide like, yeah, let them figure it out, that's basically exposure. You're exposing them to money, and hey, it's okay to do that, but at least give them a bit of a good structure, give them at least a strategy before giving that amount of money. In a simple way, you can say like this, yeah, tell me, if I gave you 100,000, wow, I'm used. Hey, if I gave you 100 shillings, what will you do with it?
Yeah.
So that is basically how to go about it.
Okay.
And the second one is avoiding money conversation.
Mhm.
And especially most of us parents, we do this a lot. Yeah, we discuss school at home, especially right now they have closed. We will look at their grades, we will look at how they are doing in school. Yeah, we will start discussing about manners, behaviors, discipline, you know, all those. We will look at how they have been, maybe asking even the teachers how they are behaving in school and all that. Yeah, but we never discuss about money. We just stay silent when it comes to money. Your child doesn't know, even like you guys have a small, like rather even your small money talks with your spouse, your budget, they don't know your goals. And so that's you just stay silent, yet children are watching everything. But if we started slowly by slowly talking about money, what money is used for, and they start learning about and gathering that information. Yeah, so it's time for, as parents, we stop talking just only about everything else and putting aside money conversation. And 3, using money as an emotional tool. What do I mean by this? Yeah, we tell them, if you behave, I will buy you something. If you do this, I will buy you something. Now money becomes emotional, and they attach emotional with money and not logical, because they know, even if I do this, mommy and or daddy will do what? Will give me this and this and this. So the emotional side starts picking up. And 4th, they avoid teaching about earning. Yeah, what do we mean by this? Yeah, children learn how to receive money all the time, but they don't learn how, like where, or rather how it's created. So basically what I mean is, they don't just understand effort, they just understand receiving. And these are not bad parenting habits, they are just unstructured habits. So basically, before you give a coin, or rather before you give any money, then your child needs to understand, like, there is effort that is needed from where this money came from. And actually that is why we do at Japesh, we have Japesh campus, and what we did, we grouped those classes in levels. And how, like, from level 1, age 4 to 6 years, this is now where we kabisa put, like, earning. You earn money from effort, from, you know, you can earn from maybe effort, you can earn from like a gift, but all that needs to be understood by your child as from age 4 to 6 years, so that at least they can know, mommy and daddy are going to work. Why are they going to work? It's their effort, and out of this effort they get money. But the moment you just give them, like, take, they will not understand money has to come from effort. Yeah.
So, Jen, another question.
Yes.
What should children actually learn from money? What should children learn?
Wow. So basically, children don't need complicated finance, like people, like when we talk about money, people assume like they need that complication. They need foundations. What do I mean by this? They need to understand what money is. They need to understand the difference between a need and a want. They need to understand, like, if you at all you need to save with a purpose. They need to understand waiting is very key and important. And they also need to understand making choices and making their own choices. And as parents, we need to support those choices. And they need to understand that money is limited. And money is not for basically everything. That is where we bring in the principle of saving, spending, and giving, because when these are clear as early as maybe from age 4, everything else becomes better in the future, because financial confidence starts with simple understanding.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So the next question, can parents teach this alone? Or let me repeat this question so that it can be more clear. Can parents teach this alone, basically about money? Can they teach that alone for the children?
Yes, they can, but what I will say is, parents are doing the best. We honestly do the best for when it comes to our kids. as a parent, you are working so hard, you're working so hard to provide, you are ever present, but let's be honest, financial educations need a bit of consistency, it needs structure, and a lot of repetition when it comes to the kids, not just one conversation. Even as a finance profession, and as a mom, I realized something. My children need structure, not just the basic exposure. And so when we talk about, like, if at all parents can do it alone, they can do it, but with a lot of repetition. But it's also advisable to at least let that child come for maybe a class, one or two, so that even if you're doing it at home, because in Japesh campus, most of our classes, at the end of every cohort, we always have a parent virtual session, so that whatever we train these kids, it will be a continuation at home. So we tell parents, this is if at all it's age 4 to 6, 7 to 10, depending on where your child came for the class, the level that they came, we now have that session where we at least coach a little bit to the parents and tell them, if your child is 7 years, this is what and what you need to be doing at home. Then at least that repetition and that cycle can continue in as they continue growing up. So we just don't train the kids, we train also the parents, because I tend to believe more work will be done at home than just coming. Yes, they will come for that session, they will learn, but going home, we need to actualize those lessons. Let me give you a small scenario. I compare like two children. I'll call maybe Amina and Tendo, Amani and Amina and Tendo. So one grows up getting everything instantly. They never learn how to do saving, they never learn how to do planning. And on the other side, Tendo has a small structured allowance where they learn to save for a certain goal, if at all they want to achieve, or rather maybe they want to buy something, and they learn to wait, because waiting comes with that saving consistently for something. Then let's do a fast forward 15 years later, looking at Amina and Tendo. They maybe grew up in the same country, just putting everything this, like maybe putting like the economy is still the same, this country is still the same. These two kids will have different mindsets, and that difference is not they lacked when they were growing up. It was just a bit of small training. So Tendo will have a bit of will have already learned a bit of basics on personal finance, but I mean, on the other hand, might take a bit longer because of how we grew up. And looking at how, like, personally looking at how we also grew up when we were kids, we can, if you sit down and analyze how you grew up, some of the money behaviors that we have right now come from how we grew up. Be it maybe we grew up in trauma, be it maybe in knowing like money is so scarce, we hoard a lot when like after growing up. Be it when you were growing up, you saw a lot of impulse spending and all that, we tend to become impulse spenders. So basically how we raise children will automatically, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, will automatically change on how they will be spending that money themselves.
So Jen, the next question, what does structured learning change in children?
Wow. So structured learning gives a child confidence, it gives them discipline, it helps that child to have at least to be able to make good decision making, that ability, and finally it gives them emotional control around money. They just don't panic, they don't rush when they need to do something, they think before actioning it, and thinking is what basically builds wealth later in their lives. So basically this is exactly why, like I've kept on mentioning, why we created Japesh campus. And it's basically to partner with parents and to raise smart money kids. But to support them, we need at least for parents to bring these kids to these classes, because financial education should not just be random. It should be very structured. age by age, level by level, from understanding money to building wealth. We just don't teach children about money, we shape how they think about money. As a parent, you don't just want your child to earn money, yeah, after campus. Of course we want them to earn that money, but you just don't want them to just earn money. You want them to understand money, because earning without understanding money is where most struggles begin. If this conversation made you reflect, then maybe it's time to give your child more than just money. Give them financial understanding and join Japesh Campus. Let's raise money smart kids together, and let them at least start learning about money very calmly, intentionally, and very wisely. At Japesh Campus, from age 4 all the way to university or college students, we have different levels, basically 5 level 1 4 to 6, level 2 7 to 10, level 3 11 to 14, level 4 15 to 18, and final level 5 young adults. So comment campus if you would like more details.